connecting you with the community. I am here with Alex Mariani of Alex and Nick Real Estate. We are going to be discussing insurance from a real estate broker's perspective today. How are you doing?
I'm excellent. Thank you very much for having me.
Of course. Alex and Nick work in the West Island area. They are core agents in this area and have experienced a lot with regards to this floods and the ups and downs of real estate in this difficult time. The 2017 flood was quite something. The 2019 flood made it so that there was definitely going to be a problem here. So we officially have flood zones, and even though the Quebec government is working on a draft currently for deciding what's in and what's out of the flood zone, that is having some impact on real estate, but that particular map is not what's killing you guys out there.
Not so much. It's more the maps from the insurance companies.
They have their own maps.
Yes. So after having consulted with a commercial and damage insurance broker, who's a very good friend of mine, it is clear that the insurance companies have their own maps. So when it comes to the claim, I mean, definitely the provinces and the boroughs will have their own, but when it comes to an insurance perspective, they'll probably use their internal maps.
Okay, in 2017, there was something called overland coverage that was instituted in insurance companies that didn't exist before. People were covered for groundwater floods and
the sewer backup.
The sewer backups.
So basically, what it was, and what I've been told, is that the flood insurance only really started prior or after the 2017 floods. Prior to 2017, most people would have already had the sewer backup and the groundwater infiltration, and they would have had, subject to limits of anywhere between $40,000 to $80,000 given.
That was depending on the rider that you take.
That's right, exactly. Okay. So after 2017, and insurance companies, you need something to happen in order for it to be covered. Overland was attached to both the sewer backup and the groundwater infiltration.
That's good news to those of you who have overland.
That's right, but it was only for those who were eligible. You had to be eligible for it. Because of, if you had the sewer backup and the groundwater, but you didn't have the overland, and either or were caused by flooding, you wouldn't have been covered.
Okay, that sounds, it's complicated, but it's not all that complicated for the insurance brokers or for the real estate agents, because when you sell your house, you have now, in the last 5 to 10 years, they put in a seller's declaration.
Yeah, so that's come to be in the last few years, and essentially a seller's declaration is everything that you've declared since you've owned the house or since you've lived in the house. More since you've lived in the house, because you can own it without having lived in it if it's an investment.
Okay.
But it's more for those who have actually lived in the house and they declare everything that they know since they've been there.
I'm going to show you this. This is a 30-page questionnaire that everybody needs to.
6 pages.
Sorry, 30 questions, not 30 pages.
Yes.
It's 30 plus 30 questions, all asking you about things that happen within your home. I recently sold my home and I had to fill this out.
You do.
So floods are part of this. You do have to declare. There was a point that you showed me.
Yeah, they are, and there's going to be probably 2 areas on the seller's declaration that in terms of flood zones are very important. The first one being, is the immovable affected by a restriction of a public law that are exceptions to ordinary law, aka flood risk areas, municipal zonings, and subdivision bylaws to be the most, but since we're talking about flood zones, the flood area is there. So that's a yes or no question.
So I'm nervous now. I'm selling my house and I have to do this declaration, and I know I've got guys out there and girls out there who are kind of panicking. If I want to sell my house, I'm in the flood zone. Can I sell my house?
You can. Of course you can. Everybody can sell the house. I mean,
and you're not saying that just because you're in the real estate agent.
No.
How am I going to sell my house?
Absolutely not. So the reality of it is that information is key. So if you've already experienced a flood because you've been in a flood zone, because there's a lot of people who are being marked in a flood zone that haven't actually been flooded. That being said, so those are always going to raise concerns, but the most important thing is to always give the information out to everybody. Verify, as a seller or as a buyer, you're going to have verified all the documents that pertain to it, the zonings that you're in, the seller's declaration. The certificate of location is another very important factor when it comes to selling a house, because the zoning is marked in the certificate of location.
So you can't trick anybody, there's no fooling anybody. Not that everybody wants to fool anybody.
Not that anybody wants to fool anyone, but the more information you give and the more upfront you are with everybody, the more people are at ease. And that's the reality of it.
In reality, we had to sign, let's say I had, I had to declare a flood, but I was in a very dry area, but we had a flood because, something happened with one of the pipes and it flooded.
Correct.
So I still had to declare that.
That's right.
So then I still sold my home. So
Yes.
I get what people are saying, that they're within a flood zone, and that's gonna be a little bit different than having a one
Yes.
incident, but
Yeah.
it's possible.
It is possible. It's definitely possible.
What would it look like? Would I have to reduce my price necessarily?
Well, so again, every house is tailored to a specific buyer. Maybe the buyer who's come in has already experienced such a thing, and isn't so worried about it. Maybe he's already gone through the trials and the tribulations and says, you know what, I love the house, I love where it is, and at the end of the day, he may take the risk for it. Maybe the buyer might come in and say, you know what, since this has happened, this is what I find or think that the value of the home may be. And any negotiation starts with an offer. So he'll probably give you an offer, and if you're happy with it, the reality is that a house will be valued at what the purchaser is willing to pay for it. So as long as there's a buyer out there, you'll be able to sell the house. Now, the more information you give to the people and the more at ease they are about coming into your home and knowing about what's going on, the more likely they are to, you know,
What if
possibly
the
purchase
city
house.
puts in a restriction that I can't repair or fix my house?
Then it comes to a case by case.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because
Then-
let's
then
face it,
comes-
there's a property in Hudson, I'm currently looking at it, it's a
Yeah.
townhouse and it's on the water,
Mhm.
and I kind of don't care, but my husband does care. He's like,
Mhm.
no, we're not buying in a flood zone, and I'm like, yeah, but it's got a beautiful waterfront,
Mhm.
so I see what you're saying, that
Yeah.
there is a buyer for everything.
There is a buyer for everything, and it really comes down to a case per case, and like we would tell everybody, I have some information as per the insurance companies, but the insurance companies are the professionals. They will be able to tell you everything. They have their own maps. They'll be able to guide you in the proper directions and let you know what your premiums are, what your coverages can be. And it's just funny because the misconception is that if you're in a flood zone, whether you've been flooded or not, the misconception is that your premiums will go up for flood coverage, but it's not. It's more a question of a factor of eligibility more than it is a premium factor. So what I've been told is that if you don't already have, some insurance companies, if you don't already have that flood coverage over that overland and you've been flooded, they might not give it to you.
Or they might give it to you at a cost.
They may give it to you at a
It's
cost.
like the person traveling to the United States that has had an illness,
Yeah.
they can get insurance.
Yeah.
It's just a question of how much you want to pay for that insurance.
Exactly. So, and again, it does come to a case by case. It's a very, very finicky topic to talk about. It's affecting a lot of people. It's affecting, you know, their mental health. It's affecting their lives, disrupting them. So, it is a case by case. I can give you what I've given you already so far.
And the fact, I think what a very important part that what you said was that the map that the province is coming out with is not necessarily the map that the
It's
insurance is
not
going to use.
necessarily
Or the
nice.
criteria.
Or the
Like I'm in the
criteria.
zone, but I've never been flooded.
Correct.
Another institution that's having an issue with this flooding and that we haven't really talked a lot about is the banks.
Mhm.
And
Absolutely.
if you're in or around a flooded zone,
Absolutely.
are you experiencing something different in terms of mortgage?
I have not experienced something yet. We do have waterfront properties for sale. I have not experienced it yet because I haven't gone to that process yet. I haven't gone to that step yet. But you see, banks now, it's a question because it's an unknown. People don't really know what's going to happen, whether they're going to ask you to put down more money because they feel it's too much of a risk, whether they're going to finance you at all because they find it's too much of a risk. You know, properties now, it's a very good market. The Montreal market is excellent, and in doing so, there is causing some problems. Houses are being over-evaluated in such a way that the banks don't think that they're evaluated so high. They want clients and buyers to come down with more money than they're actually putting down. So you have to make up that difference, and some people don't have it. Therefore, they can't qualify them. So it could be the same thing with the floods. If the banks feel that it's too much of a risk, they may just disregard the whole file completely.
Well, they're going to disregard the whole file if the insurance company won't back them.
For sure.
They definitely, when you go
Well,
for your mortgage and
that's
signing,
100%.
it's
Yeah,
going
yeah.
to be,
Oh,
maybe I'll
that's-
qualify you, but if the insurance company doesn't back it up.
That's for sure. That's for sure.
That's what's gonna happen.
Yeah, that's for sure.
So we're hanging on the insurance people out there to come together and figure out how to help us out with this.
They will be the best ones. Now there is, I was told again through my good friend that high valued homes. High valued homes meaning if your reconstruction amount is over $1 million, there might be an option for the insurance to give you that flood zone coverage. because of the reconstruction build. Subject to deductibles, obviously between $5,000 and standalone premiums. They can be anywhere between $3,000 to $6,000, but these are high value homes. So
Okay.
reconstruction values of over $1 million. That's another category.
Maybe the cities will also change their bylaws in a certain way. Maybe some houses, you know.
The cities may, and I think the cities still have a bit of work to do because of the sewer backups. You know, how many Pierrefonds residents do I know personally, and probably you know, and that the general scope of people listening to this and has affected them have not even been anywhere near the water, but because of the sewer backups and the groundwater infiltration are experiencing floods. And these people are being put in a flood zone. It's actually doesn't make any sense. So
Which helps us that the insurance companies are maybe going to do their own thing. My
Well,
only
that's
concern
it.
is again
That's
with the bylaws, are they gonna let you rebuild, are they gonna let us repair
that's right.
in
So
homes
it's
that are?
so it's definitely a case by case issue. It's a very important topic nowadays.
How do people get in touch with you? Our time is almost up, so where do people get in touch with you to ask you further questions?
If they want, they can. The main way is to go to the website, drive them to our website, which is alexandnick.ca. All the information would be there as pertaining to the contact info, listings that we have, and again, if there's anything that anybody wants to reach out at, it's you'll find us all over the internet.
Yeah, you can find them, and we'll put all the postings up here in the text.
Yeah.
And thank you, Alex, for coming out
Thank you.
today.
Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. Have a great day.
Thank you.